You are listening to the Insurance Corner podcast. This podcast is presented by Florida Public Adjusting. Tune in to get tips, information, and valuable pieces of advice on how to best handle common problems homeowners face with insurance providers.
I think everybody would agree that, fire of any kind at a property, whether a house or a business, is absolutely terrifying.
If you smell anything, the best thing to do at first, if you see fire, call 911 right away.
Yeah, sometimes people underestimate even just smoke. Smoke could be more deadly than fire. God forbid if you find yourself in a position where you need to make a quick getaway and you need to get out, make sure that you stay low. Yeah. You grab your kids, you grab your family, you grab your pets if you can, and you get out of the house.
Grab everything, important or any documents that you can have. If not, if it's really bad, grab your kids and just
leave.
Yeah, and call 911.
Because there's nothing more valuable in this world than your life. And your
Totally.
family's lives and everybody that you love around you. So make sure first and foremost that you're safe.
Yeah.
And then definitely you have to call 911 first. Make sure that you have proper coverage. Make sure that that you take all the necessary steps that you have to keep your family safe in the event of a fire. Make sure you call 911 right away.
Yes.
Make sure that whatever you are able to grab, if you have a few seconds to just grab, I would say a cell phone and any quick valuables.
Yeah.
If not, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Just leave.
It's your life.
Because if you think there's no flames, but there's just smoke, a lot of people die from smoke more than they actually do from fire. So make sure that you're safe.
Important.
Make sure you take the necessary steps and give us a call so that we can fight for you to make sure that you get everything you deserve on your fire claim.
Totally.
We unfortunately have seen many cases of fire losses, and it's completely devastating just on every front. The homeowners and the people that are involved, watching them go through the ashes that once was their property and once was their house and their belongings, family photos, and it's really hard to see. Yeah. The good thing, and something that it makes me feel a little bit better is to know that I'm there to make sure that they get fully recovered. And when they sit with me, I could see in their heart, there's like a little bit of, or in their eyes, that there's a little bit of hope that they're going to be fully recovered. And it's something that is a little glimpse of hope. So as a homeowner myself, just some of the tips that I could give to prevent a fire or a total loss in the event of a fire. One, have a fire extinguisher. Yeah. Make sure your smoke alarms are up to date.
Working. Yeah.
Make sure, I know sometimes they beep and you just take the battery out. You just want to smash the entire thing.
Yeah, you even take
a broom, you start beating it.
It's just putting a battery.
Just put a battery in. Make sure they're all tested. Make sure they're working, because fire alarms save lives. They really do. You also have, something else, which is
electrical or anything, if you want to
make sure it's up to code. So it's not like if you smell something weird, fix it. Don't wait for it to be too late.
And it's gonna get worse. So you can prevent.
And make sure that you also teach your family what to do in an event of a fire, because it happens so quickly. When I was a child, I actually experienced a fire, and I had to have been like 6 or 7 years old, and we, I guess just when we were kids, we watched on television like the stop, drop, and roll, and run outside, get your parents. So I actually did that. So my mom was in her room, and I smelled smoke, and the house within minutes was just full of smoke, and I ran outside, but I grabbed everybody along the way, right? So it's important, and I was such a young age, so I think it's very important that parents teach their children what to do in an event of a fire, how to make sure that they're safe, how to make sure, like, if there's smoke, get low to the ground, and crawl yourself outside. I think some of these steps not only
for your property
but it'll save your lives. Save your life, your family's life, your kids, the people
even
you love.
in different places that you actually experience it. Maybe it's not your home, but you're in a different place. That's really good. That's really nice too. So
make sure that you just are smart about it, quick about it, and you just take the necessary steps to either also prevent it, and then if it happens, God forbid, you'll give us a call and we're there to represent you. There was one time that I got a call from a homeowner, and his house was completely burnt down. And, he called me, asked what I could do. And unfortunately, his policy lapsed a few hours prior to the fire, which I think was within 12 or 24 hours. And as hard as it was something that I had no choice but have to say that there's absolutely nothing I can do for you. Yeah. So, I think a lesson that I personally took, even though I deal with insurance every day, sometimes they say, like a shoemaker's kids don't wear shoes. Yeah. So sometimes I have to go through and make sure, God forbid, like we have a policy that lapses, that it's taken care of right away. Whether you pay through escrow and then the mortgage company doesn't pay send the check to the insurance company. You have to make sure that these are things to prevent disasters. Because once something like this happens and you are not covered, it could be life-changing. Yeah. Like to the state where you lose everything. Yes. And in today's day and age, anytime, nobody wants to lose anything. But no. When, things are already hard as it is, you want to make sure that you're covered by an insurance company, so that if in the event that something goes wrong, that you have all the coverage, 100%. Everything. So it's really important to have, even if you don't have mortgage, you have to have insurance. Insurance is really good it's your asset. There's a lot of times that we go to condominiums, right? High-end condominiums on the beaches, whether it's Sunny Isles, Hallandale, Bal Harbor, up the coast, down the coast. Not responsible to have insurance, or you're not obligated to have insurance. And sometimes, like if there's a loss, like you don't have coverage, and then your automatic thing is like, hey, let me go after the person where the unit started from, where if like a leak in a tub on the upstairs, your place is flooded out because don't. It's not worth it, because you're fighting a third-party insurance where they have no obligation to you at all. There's no statutes in place in order to protect you against them. Have insurance. And it could take... it'll take years. Yes. And after that, it's like, was it worth it to go through all of that? Just because not having insurance. Because you didn't have your own insurance. Yeah. You have a $2 million condo on the beach, but you're not paying, the $1,000 a year to be covered. So it's really important. It's very, very important that if you own a property with a mortgage, without a mortgage, have insurance. Business, anything. Yeah, it's really important that you have insurance. And if you have any questions, you can give us a call. We will hear for you. We will answer. If you have any doubts, if you don't understand, give us a call. That's why we're here for you. So insurance policies typically would have the same structure with A, B, C, and D. In terms of coverages. So you'd have coverage A, which is dwelling, coverage B, which is other structures, coverage C, which is contents, and coverage D, which is additional living expenses. There is another coverage which people don't really know that is on their policy, and most, I'd say majority, are covered for. It's called ordinance and law. And so that is something that is on your policy. It is usually about 25% of the coverage A. So if you have a $200,000 on coverage A, then you'll have an additional $40,000 on ordinance and law. And what that is if you have a loss, say, to an electrical panel and the wiring is old and it has to be brought back up to code. So that is the coverage that would apply to bring that back up to code. So make sure you know what you're covered for. If you want us to take a look at your policy, we will. It's a free inspection. We don't charge. No. You could give us a call. You could even email us or fax us over your insurance policy. Take a picture and text it to us. And we'll just look at it from here. We'll let you know what you have or you don't have, so you understand a little bit about your policy. Right, and if you don't have coverage, which you should have coverage, then you call your agent and you just start yelling at him. Yes. No, totally. Because I see some policies that they don't have all the coverage. Just how I say before, just to put like the premium a little bit less, but it doesn't make a difference. And how people think all the time that because filing a claim, your insurance is gonna go up and everything. That's not true, because every year a policy will go up regardless of if you file a claim or not. It's something you have to look forward for as well on your policies. to make sure you have fire coverage. Majority do if it's an HO3, a homeowners 3 policy, or a DP3 policy. There are other policies, which is a named peril policy, which outlines each peril which is covered for, and you should make sure that if you have a named covered policy, a named peril policy, that fire is listed under one of those named perils. So that you make sure that you ensure that you have coverage.
But if you're not sure, you can give us a call right away.
Policies have been on the rise ever since Hurricane Irma. I think we've seen a major increase in policy premiums. I know that agents that I speak to, they said, and they've been in this industry for 40 years selling policies, they said we've never experienced anything like it. So make sure that you have proper coverage. So we actually just had a fire now. Like the fire completely destroyed the house, and the policy was worth like $74,000. The cost of repairs will be above 140. So it's almost double of what his coverage was for. So it's also very important that if you make sure that you have the proper coverage,
the amounts, the limits, and not thinking because you put a little bit less or not having that coverage, your premium's gonna go, it's gonna low. No, it's really important that you have all coverage with the right limits. So in any events, you have the coverage to use them.
Contents is super important.
It's really important. I see some, how Josh stated, I see some actually clients that are not having that coverage at all. They having zero, and it's really important because it's also your personal items, your personal stuff that could be damaged because of a fire,
right, or anything. Right, you have water damage that pipe breaks and it floods the entire house, covered with water, and then you're stuck without contents. And you have to pay $40,000-$50,000 to replace everything.
Yeah, bed, anything.
Everything.
Your personal,
TVs.
TVs. Everything that got affected. So
dining
it's really
room tables,
important.
living room sets, you name it, right?
It's really important that you have all coverage. I believe
refrigerators, and not not the built-in stovetops, but the free range. Those are not covered under coverage A. They're actually coverage C. So it's super important. Some people have really expensive items that in their kitchen or appliances.
Yeah.
You want to have coverage.
And it doesn't make a difference because some people think that maybe taking those coverage out, it makes a really difference on your premium, which
it's
is
usually
not...
about $100 a year, $150 a year.
And if you think,
it looks good on paper in the beginning, right? Instead of you paying $2,900 a year for insurance, you're paying $2,750. But that $150 could mean, a major loss in the future. So... It goes back to like penny wise, pound foolish.
Yes.
Pay the extra $150 or $200 a year to make sure your contents are covered.
So if you're not sure about your policy, if you're not sure about if it's covered or not, give us a call. It's a free consultation. Give us a call. We're going to be here for you. We're going to help you through the whole process, and we will explain everything so you understand. That's the important thing, to understand what's going on and what you have. If it's a total loss, does the insurance company will cover the whole property?
Yeah, the total loss would typically mean that you're going to max your insurance policy, and it will exhaust all coverages. And that if it is a total loss, then it is something that the insurance carrier will have to pay for. And that's pretty much it.
Yes.
If it's a complete burnt down structure, then the carrier is responsible to exhaust all coverages on your policy.
Yeah.
The same thing with the storm, a hurricane. If the structure is completely torn down, then it's a total loss, and the carrier is supposed to exhaust all coverages, not just A, B, C, and D, but there are additional coverages inside your policy. Like we mentioned earlier, ordinance and law. You also have other coverages for like debris removal.
Yes.
And there's a few others that are listed in the policy.
The policy that you have extra coverage in case, but it's
If it is a total loss, all coverages should be exhausted. Also, additional living expenses. When you go through something like a fire, and your house, you have a 3-4 bedroom home, and now you have to rent a 3-4 bedroom home a month, monthly until it gets fixed or put back together. You could be looking at $35 to plus a month, $3,500, $4,000. And today's rental market is absolutely insane. So
crazy. So you really need that coverage.
Additional living expenses is super important, especially when dealing with a fire loss. By the time that they do all their investigations, when the insurance companies do all their investigations with the fire marshals and then their own engineers, number one, you want to make sure you have a public adjuster that's fighting on your side to make sure that it's streamlined. It doesn't just sit down on the back burner, no pun intended, but it's to make sure that we're there to fight for you, and to make sure that it goes like one step after the other without any delays, so that you can get back into your house as quickly as possible.
Yes. What do you think about keeping all the receipts, the documents? It's really important to have that.
So yes, if you are in a situation where you have to evacuate, if you are dealing with a fire claim or fire loss and you have to leave, make sure that you document it from the moment you leave your house. You save every single receipt, invoice, and if you're able to print your credit card or debit card statements, all of this is very important to get reimbursed from the carrier. Unlike most coverages, additional living expenses or loss of use, coverage D, is an incurred expense. So that means that once you have incurred that expense and you've paid out of pocket, it will get reimbursed. But in order to get reimbursed, it's important that you're meticulous with the receipt keeping and the documentation in order for them to reimburse you, because they will find every excuse not to. But when you have the proper receipts and you are able to back up those out-of-pocket expenses, it is entitled to you, and we'll make sure that you get it. It will be reimbursed to you. That's what our job is.
Yes, that's why we're here for you.
Yeah.
To help you through the whole process. After the fire, can you go back into your house?
So typically, if it's not a complete total loss, then yes, you should be able to. If it is more catastrophic, then it is the city would normally, or the fire marshal would deem it unsafe, as an unsafe structure, and we would recommend not going into the property. Also, if you are going into a fire property, a property that just experienced a fire, you need to, and I would highly recommend to wear a face covering, because you don't want to breathe in all the contaminants that are in the air, whether it's insulation, or if older homes, they have asbestos and lead paint. Yes. So that is something that you should really, really take into account, because that's deadly. But even beyond that, you have, whether burning metals, or you have, again, insulation.
So you have to be really careful.
Contaminants in the air. So make sure that you're protected. Don't just run back in. Make sure that you have a face covering. And if it's an unsafe structure, I would avoid it altogether, because you don't know what beams might come crashing down. And it's important to stay safe first and foremost.
And there's experts that can go in for you and let you know what's going on inside. In the case that is not safe, it's better. It's like calling us. We are experts on a claim, so we know what to do. We know how to handle it.
Precautions.
So call the experts that know what to do in those cases. Don't think that you can do it by yourself, because sometimes it's not really worth it to go inside and just take the chance.
How do we get rid of the smoke smell?
Well, you can ventilate your house. You can
very important.
To ventilate your house, to open up the windows, everything. Well, it depends on how bad is the fire, but
fires typically smell pretty bad.
Yes.
Right? It first starts really with intense. The burning, the char, the metals, the list goes on. Insulation, the drywall. It's disgusting. Yes. Unfortunately, people go through it. But, there's ways to start airing out your house by opening windows. There are companies and experts that take care of fire remediation.
Yes.
So that is, really available. It's very important to get a company in that knows what they're doing right away. As a public adjuster, our job is to advocate on your behalf to make sure that you are fully indemnified in the event of a loss. Every fire claim to date that I have represented, I've never seen the insurance company pay out what they were supposed to on the first time around. After we got involved, the insurance company then paid exactly what the insured was entitled to. So it's very important when you have a loss to give us a call. We're going to be by your side, and we will recover every single penny that you deserve. And thank God, every time we've ever represented a fire claim, we have gotten every single dime that the insured is owed, even above the policy limits.
Yeah, totally. Yes.
We are here 24/7 to make sure that we advocate on your behalf. And what that means is you would give us a call with any question. If you have a covered loss, we will come to your property. We'll document it. We will file the insurance claim.
Yeah.
We will meet up with the adjuster, schedule every appointment that has to be done.
Every document that the insurance requested, we will submit for them. We actually are on the middle between you and the insurance company. We handle all the documents, all the inspections, everything that has to be done. Sometimes you feel overwhelmed, or you don't know how the claim process works. That's why you have us. It's like you have an attorney to defend yourself. You have a public adjuster to defend
your claim.
Yeah, totally.
Right, 100%.
So it's the first thing that we do. We come out as a free inspection. We take a look of the damages. We review your policy. We explain how the coverage you have, also so you understand what your policy is for. We help you file a claim. We call the insurance company. We schedule the first initial inspection, which the insurance adjuster will go out to take a look of the damage. We're going to be there for you too. We never leave the insurance company by itself. Every time the insurance company needs to do an inspection at your property, even if it's a plumbing engineer, whatever, we're there for you. We never leave the insurance company by itself.
And we pressure them to make sure that everything's done in a timely manner, which is very important because things typically get delayed when you're dealing with insurance carriers. Mm-hmm. At the same time, we also make sure that you are fully in compliance with your policy and the conditions that you are responsible as a policyholder, so that they cannot come back and say, hey, well, you didn't keep to your side. So we make sure that from A to Z, like I said, it's handled. We pressure them. They have statutes that they have to abide by. We make sure that it's enforced. And
we have a really back office, really that help, because we are on the field all the time, but we have a really good back office that we also are going to be on your claim. It's not only us as a public adjusters that are being on the claim. It's also going to be a claims handler in the office will take care of all the documents, of all the scheduling, of everything that it needs to be done in a timely manner.
Right. It's very important when you're choosing a public adjuster that you choose the right public adjuster for you. And when I mean right public adjuster, there are a lot of companies out there that have opened since storms started hitting, and they're typically one-man shows. Yes. So you want to make sure that you hire a company that has a strong back staff that will handle your claim from A to Z to pressure, like I said, pressure the insurance company to do what they need to do in a timely manner, and that is to get you paid as soon as possible. Mm-hmm. So that's what Florida Public Adjusting is all about.
Yes. So if you have any questions, any property damage or anything, please give us a call back at 305-542-5999, and we're here for you.
To represent you.
Josh, so what are some challenges you've been through when you need to handle it with an insurance adjuster?
So typically most insurance adjusters are friendly. I've known them now for over 12 years. But you do run into, your adjusters that are just not as friendly, and they give an attitude, or they just start making coverage decisions before even understanding the loss or looking at the property. Those are some challenges that we run into. They're not really challenges at that point. When I notice, what's going on, then it's very simple. You do your job, I'll do mine. And we just do our job correctly, and we do it better. We make sure that you get paid. So, typically, we don't let those get in the way. When you deal with fires, sometimes you'll have some delays from the fire department on getting the report, or the fire marshal has to go and give their investigation report as well. Typically, it moves pretty quickly if we get everything in order, if we feel experts are in need, and, engineers will be hired. The carrier typically likes to hire their own engineers, which is completely fine. That's part of the procedure. It's part of their investigation. And we completely comply because an insurance policy is a two-way contract. And just like the insurance carrier needs to abide by that contract, and so does the policyholder. And we make sure that, every step of the way that both parties are in line with that contract. So typically, I would say some of the most challenges are just meeting rude people.
Yeah.
Other than that, we do our job.
Yeah.
We make sure it does.
Yeah.
We make sure that we get it done. I think it's important when in any job in life is to always be cordial with one another. There's no reason to fight. There's no reason to to be nasty. And I think it's so important because in the last 12 years, the relationships that I've made with a lot of the insurance adjusters, when going out to a loss, it makes it so much easier than when you meet somebody and there's confrontation immediately. And
it isn't worth it.
It's not worth it.
No,
you're gonna see them again.
Yeah,
they're good people. They're just doing their job. You're doing yours, and so it's important that I think it's a major benefit as well because when you've been in this for long enough and you meet enough people over the years, you also gain a lot of credibility.
Yes.
So when going to a loss, it's a lot less questions on if, and it's more of like, hey, how can we get this done quickly so that your client could get back to normal as soon as possible. Yeah. So I think that's one of the major benefits of just having and keeping good relationships with whoever you work with throughout the years. I think it's especially on the insurance side. Yeah. Because you will meet again, and you want them to be the best for your client. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think the last major fire that we had was a electrical fire in a roof, and it started in the attic and was smoldering. Yeah. And then the family woke up to just black smoke throughout the entire property. It was like you could see it, like it was devastating. Yeah. Luckily, the homeowner, one of the residents at the house, they actually had a very serious lung issue. They happened to wake up a few hours earlier and they had to go to work. And then just moments later, the entire house was engulfed in not only fire, but it was the smoke, which was just distributed throughout the entire house. And we managed to, actually, I was the second adjuster that went to go interview. They did tell me that there was somebody else that they saw earlier. And I was very happy and proud to say that they went with us and with Florida Public Adjusting and myself. And they were extremely happy with the results. We got them over and above their policy limits on coverage A. And they're back in their new home now. So
it's because amazing. I believe also, Josh, is because I think as a company we are really honest and truthful, and we actually, that's why I guess that they also feel super comfortable with.
It's a very personal experience. Yes. We make sure that we are here for you at every instance of the claim, from the beginning to the end. You give us a call at any time. You can text us. Yeah. It's not like you call a company and there's
nobody answering,
right? Or like a dull ringtone, or you have our personal cell phones, so we're here to help. Yes. We have also over, thank God now, it's like 20 years combined experience in the insurance industry, and we take pride in every single claim that we have represented from the beginning until now, and moving forward.
Yeah, we help every step. We explain every step to the client. So, because sometimes in this situation they feel overwhelmed, but we are the type of person that we explained everything. We help them through the whole process because we understand what they're dealing, what they're going through, and it's really important for them to realize that we're here for them. We're 100% with the clients and feeling what they actually feeling, because we see it. We see it every time we go to a client's house. We can feel how they feel, even if it's a small, I don't believe in nothing it's really small, but even if they think it's really small, we actually explain how everything it is. We're really honest. I believe that's why.
We just came across I was at a fire claim yesterday where they had an electrical fire, and it started by the panel, and it worked its way out through the addition of the home and then also into the main area of the home. The carrier offered, I think it was $12,000, and I think that I think we could all agree again, to get any work done, especially today, $12,000 to replace all the electrical in your house it's not going to cut it. So we actually had a reinspection with the carrier. They agreed to come after they saw our estimate of what the price, what it should be. They agreed to a reinspection. I met with the original adjuster, very nice guy. We ended up going through the estimates together, and he pointed out where he's going to give some supplemental money, which is part of the policy. So he's going to write another check. The last fire, one of the last ones, we had two. We had the electrical one, which I mentioned earlier, and then we had another one where it was a small kitchen fire. And they actually stopped the fire without calling 911. They fixed it.
Yeah.
Their cabinets were charred, right? But it was not a complete total loss. We filed the claim. We ended up getting them a brand new kitchen. They replaced areas of the ceiling. So it's not always, total disasters.
Yeah.
Minimal fires. Anything that gets burnt, even like you're cooking something and something splashes on a counter and it starts. If you have a laminate counter and it'll burn that counter, that's covered. That is something that we've represented in the past and we continue to represent today, and we will make sure you get indemnified for it. So so it doesn't have to be a fully total loss or a complete,
hopefully it doesn't get to that, but
right, if you're able to stop it,
yes, that's
stop
awesome.
it. But also understand, you could give us a call right away. Any questions, we're here to answer. So this particular person, the one with the small kitchen fire that they had, they waited. They didn't know that it was covered until somebody recommended. One of our clients were at their house and they say, hey, listen, what is that on your stove?
Yeah, totally.
So he's like, yeah, it happened 2 months ago. So it was still in the proper time frame. If he knew it was covered, he would have filed it right away. Unfortunately, he didn't. So when he found out that he had coverage, we assisted in making sure that it was filed. We met up with the adjuster, and we got the claim paid. Another interesting story that we had once. So there was a fire, and then the neighbor next door had a lot of smoke damage as a result of the neighbor's fire. And that was a claim that we were able to help the neighbor get reimbursed for. And something like just a quick example would be, just the linens and laundry, that was all covered. Anything that had any, smell was covered as well. The way that would typically go is that if you are a neighbor of a fire claim and you've experienced any kind of damages, you're not sure if you did or not, you could give us a call. Typically, if it's something related to smoke, then you would be able to see it and smell it. The way that would go would, we would file a claim under your carrier, and then your insurance company would they would subrogate against the carrier of the person that had the fire. When you get paid with our help on representation, and you have and you put your house back together, you should have no issue getting insurance.
No.
Coverage should be available.
Yeah.
In fact, you're probably more likely to get a good insurance because everything should be brought back up to code.
Totally.
You'll have a brand new, whatever it is, kitchen, bathrooms, drywall,
whatever
roof.
has to be repaired. Yeah.
So as long as you do the work for the money that is recovered, with the money that's recovered for you, you should have no issue. Getting insurance. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Insurance Corner.
My name is Flor.
And I am Josh.
And this is Florida Public Adjusting.
We will see you on the next one.